Welcome to Comic Shop News. I'm Dan, and today we're going to be starting our series review of Friday the 13th. Since we have Friday the 13th, the month of September, I figured I'd try and do one a day. There might be an interruption, unfortunately, because of Hurricane Dorian getting ready to hit Florida, so if a day or two is missed, it's probably because I don't have power. Going to start out with Friday the 13th is one of those series that basically Sean Cunningham was just trying to capitalize on the popularity of Halloween after it came out. They basically say in the Crystal Lake Memories that they were basically just trying to rip off the idea and make some money. They kind of sold the idea without the movie being made, with just the name. Betsy Palmer did the movie just because she needed a new car. She thought the script basically was crap. Somehow, with all these little factors working against it, the movie became a success. It is a thriller. It also is one of those movies that after the first time you see it, I feel like it affects its rewatchability once you know the twist. So the movie starts out with the POV of a person going through a cabin and seeing kids sleeping. And it's cutting to seeing the counselors playing guitar and singing Hallelujah. And our POV person goes into one of the cabins and sees the two counselors fooling around and proceeds to kill them. And this time where this happens is 1958. And then we jump ahead and we then have this counselor who's going to be a cook. She's hitchhiking to Crystal Lake, and we keep hearing about how there's the Prophet of Doom, Ralph, who sees her and says it's got a death curse. A trucker takes her for a ride part of the way and then lets her out. She then hitchhikes again, gets picked up, and proceeds to get a little scared. Of course, the POV of the person, we are just listening to Annie drone on, and end up going past the exit to Crystal Lake. Annie freaks out and jumps out of the car, and the Jeep stops, and the person tracks her down. Annie's hurt her leg, and she proceeds to get killed. We go on to meet our other counselors. One of them is Kevin Bacon. Adrienne King plays Alice. We have Jeannine Taylor playing Marcie. Kevin Bacon's Jack, Harry Crosby is Bill, Laurie Bartram is Brenda, Mark Nelson is Ned, and Peter Brouwer, Steve Christy. He's got the porn stash. He weirdly has no shirt on for part of it. He's kind of into Alice and has a couple of little creepy moments where he's grabbing her face. And he talks her into staying longer to help get the camp set up. So we get introduced to these characters. The whole movie, you're seeing the POV of the killer wandering around the woods, and part of it's to try and guess who the killer is. I remember as a kid, I thought for sure it was Steve Christy. And it was somewhat creative the way they did the POV and the misdirects. They give you a lot of time, actually, to get to know the characters and somewhat like them. The acting and the writing in the movie is not the best. Best way to put it. Tom Savini was doing the effects. There's some actually pretty inventive kills in it, especially Kevin Bacon's was pretty good. As the movie goes on, one by one, they set up things that are going to go in the end, like the generator, and start, one by one killing off the different counselors. Steve Christy is killed. He sees someone he knows and stops, and then he's stabbed. Brenda is killed out by the archery range. Some of the kills are pretty good. Again, Kevin Bacon's was probably the best. They do a lot of shadow use in it. Alice, for some reason, everybody loves her and thinks that she's one of the better final girls. I don't get that vibe from her. In the next movie, I'll talk more about who I feel in the series is the best final girl. Alice is okay. I never really gravitated to her. But following up on the movie, we go on and Alice starts finding everybody dead. And she's running out, and then we are introduced to Betsy Palmer with a, "Well, hi, I'm Mrs. Voorhees. I'm a friend of the Christys." And Betsy Palmer does some of the best soap opera acting here and goes into a headspace that I feel is like why people gravitate to her. And I don't know how I'd behave if I ever had a kid who died. And she does the whole story of how the counselors were messing around and her son Jason died. His name was Jason. Goes into a whole speech about it, and then you start seeing how batshit crazy she is, where she's doing the voice of Jason going, "Kill her, Mommy! Kill her!"
Kill her, Mommy! Kill her! Don't let her get away, Mommy. Don't let her live.
I won't, Jason. I won't.
Starts chasing her down. We have our confrontation, and it's an interesting fight. Alice eventually gets the better of her and takes a machete and cuts Mrs. Voorhees' head off. And we see in it, when the head comes off, the hands are hairy. It's actually Tom Savini's friend Tasso who's helping him out. His hands. They had some problems with the effects, like with Kevin Bacon's, with the blood. Like, it clogged up, so he had to blow through the tube, and it ends up shooting out. It actually worked in the movie. And we go to something else they ripped off, where they were like, you know what, let's use the end of Carrie, kind of. And we get the Jason jumping out of the water and pulling Alice down. And, she wakes up like it's a dream. And, well, that boy is still out there then. So I have a weird rating with this movie. So the first time watching it without knowing the twist, it's about a 6 and a 5 or a 7. But the rewatchability after knowing the twist kind of ruins the movie for me, because then you're not guessing, and the suspense is gone from it, and then it becomes a 5 for me. Because, again, the script is weak. The acting, not exactly prime. And all of the Friday the 13th, the acting is not fantastic. Although Part 4 is an exception. We will get there. Again, it's a very hard movie to kind of rate, and not... Because, again, after the first time you watch it, you're like, okay, I really liked it. And then the second time, and every time after that, you're just like, okay, I know where it's going. Just get there. There wasn't enough to keep you even occupied once you know what the ending's going to be. I'm sure a lot of people disagree with me. That's my opinion on it. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap up this review of Friday the 13th, Part 1. Again, Betsy Palmer was great. She actually, once she gets on the screen, she chews the fuck out of the scenery. So like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell me your thoughts on it. Take care, and if you're caught in this hurricane, be safe. Thank you.